In Margaret McMullan's historical novel How I Found the Strong, 2004, aimed at middle-grade readers, we follow the journey of 10-year-old Frank Shanks Russell. Left behind with his mother and grandparents as his father and older brother joined the Confederate Army, Shanks navigates the challenges of war alongside his family and their slave, Buck. As they endure hardships and shortages, their bonds deepen, prompting Shanks to question the purpose of the conflict tearing their nation apart. McMullan's inspiration for the novel stems from a manuscript discovered in her grandmother's belongings, penned by her great-uncle Frank Russell. This document chronicled life in Mississippi during the 1850s and 1860s, mirroring the experiences of McMullan's own ancestor, who, like the protagonist in the novel, remained home with the women and children during the Civil War. Seamlessly blending elements from Russell's real-life story, McMullan weaves a poignant narrative in How I Found the Strong, which earned a nomination for the Dorothy Canfield Fisher Book Award in 2006. Set on their Mississippi farm in the spring of 1861, young Shanks observes, with envy, as his father and brother prepare to join the fight against the Union. Despite his eagerness to join them, Shanks is deemed too young and frail for the army. Taunted by his family for his stature and nicknamed Sonny, Chicken Legs, and Beanpole, Shanks feels the sting of being left behind with his mother, grandfather, and cantankerous grandmother, who is blind. Their family slave, Buck, also remains at home, his past trauma haunting him as he harbors a deep fear of water after witnessing his mother's drowning. Disconnected from the emotions of those around him, Buck remains an enigma to Shanks, who ponders over the complexities of his existence and whether he can ever find happiness in his circumstances. In Shanks's town, Henry and others share the belief that the war isn't primarily about slavery, rather, they perceive the Northern forces as seeking to dismantle the strength of the South and dictate its way of life. Shanks himself sees slavery as a natural order, viewing Buck's status as a colored boy and slave, and his own as a white boy not subjected to such servitude, as part of God's plan. When Shanks's father and brother depart for battle, there's a widespread expectation that the conflict will be short-lived, ending by Christmas. In the absence of news from them, Shanks and Buck take on the responsibility of tending to the crops, assisted by neighbors during harvest time. Amidst the scarcity of essential supplies like flour, coffee, and sugar, and with skirmishes encroaching upon their farm, Shanks reflects on the unusual sense of agency children like himself seem to possess in a nation torn by war. As the situation worsens, Shanks and Buck find themselves aiding injured soldiers, grappling with the harsh realities of the conflict. Questions about the role of God in the midst of such suffering plague Shanks's thoughts. Amidst these trials, encounters with individuals like Irene Beall, a volunteer nurse from a wealthy family, and Tempy, a red-headed deserter in chains, further deepen Shanks's understanding of the complexities of war and human suffering. Facing increased food shortages and a drought-stricken region, Shanks's family dynamics shift as Ma teaches Buck to read, fostering a new bond between them. Meanwhile, the family grapples with personal losses, including the decline and eventual passing of Grandma, just as Ma prepares to give birth. With Grandpa's decision to depart for the West, Shanks receives tokens of strength and resilience, including a mad stone for Buck's water phobia and gifts meant to fortify Shanks himself. During the harsh winter of 1862, with Ma's impending labor and the absence of aid from Brother Davenport, Shanks and Buck find themselves navigating through challenges and encounters that test their resilience and understanding of the world around them. Tempy expresses his exhaustion with the violence of war, prompting Shanks to guide him to an axe on their farm to break free from his chains. After freeing himself, Tempy aids in the delivery of Ma's baby, before proposing that Buck accompany him in fleeing. However, Buck staunchly refuses to abandon Shanks, even as their hardships multiply. Their trials intensify as their mule is confiscated, members of Irene's family fall ill with scarlet fever, and her father is tragically reported dead. By the autumn of 1862, Shanks's family faces dire circumstances with no food to sustain them and Confederate currency rendered worthless. When Pa returns home, maimed and disheartened by the war, he brings news of Henry's demise and his own grievous injuries. In a harrowing turn, armed ex-Confederate soldiers descend upon their farm, intent on harming Buck. Shanks and Pa undertake a daring rescue, leading Buck to safety along the river, Strong, where Pa grants him his wages and freedom papers. However, their journey home is interrupted by a skirmish, during which Pa sustains severe injuries while protecting Shanks. Despite the chaos, they eventually return to find aid from Brother Davenport and his wife, along with a grateful Irene, who acknowledges Shanks's bravery with a kiss. Pa credits Shanks with saving both Buck and himself, a realization that prompts Shanks to embrace his true name, Frank, signaling a significant personal transformation. In the epilogue, Frank reflects on the family's subsequent endeavors. Grandpa's disappearance remains a mystery, while Buck's letter from Chicago reveals his involvement in the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge. Pa continues farming, while Ma finds success selling baked goods. Tempy's allegiance shifts to the Union Army, while Frank himself pursues a career in education and plans a future with Irene Beall. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.